Hi everyone, it is December 21st. It's around midnight right now. I'm getting ready for bed. I'm in my PJs. But I just wanted to give you an update on what the CEP 2024 progress is looking like and what's going on. So I don't think I've filmed very much, but I did release some content about the 2024 CEP on my TikTok. That TikTok got like a little popular and a lot of people saw it, got attention, which was great, really fun. But essentially CEP applications released on November 10th. A lot of people applied, apparently, and closed later on that week, like 5 days later. It was super fast, literally not even 5 business days, like 5 literal days. Went by so fast, but since then I've been under review, haven't heard anything. Thankfully, I am filming because on December 20th, we got interview offers and our role checklist, which is really exciting. We've been waiting literally almost 7 weeks for a response back, which honestly isn't that bad considering other Disney processes I've been through. But after 7 weeks, we do have interview offers and role checklists, which is great. But I realize I haven't really filmed the process of waiting, and I don't really know why that is, but I guess I'll take you a bit through what's been going on because it was honestly a stress for me. So originally when we were talking about applications releasing, there was a bit of rumors going around that there might be some trouble for alumni. This was fueled by the fact that UK participants were told that alumni can't do a second program. This was shocking as I personally know a couple of UK participants who were on a second program this summer. So they implemented that rule for the CEP in the UK. So it was a little scary to be like, okay, but what if Canada and other countries say that we can't do another program because we're alumni? So that was originally from the get-go stressful, but then applications released, they let us do it, obviously, and it just kept going from there. I want to say it was like 2 weeks after we applied. I could be wrong on the timeline, maybe it was 3. But around that timeline, a couple of alumni got no longer in consideration. This came as a bit of a shock because historically, since 2022, when the programs reopened after COVID, pretty much everyone has gotten in. Now, there are probably people who have gotten no longer in consideration and maybe haven't shared it, but it's been widely known that the CEP, once you get an interview, you're kind of in. Even not a lot of people got denied. They had so much need for staffing, but that has changed this year. Not only do they have a ton of applicants, it's appearing like they have a limited amount of spots, and I'll be interested to see how many people actually get to participate in a cultural exchange program this summer, but it seems like the dynamic has very much changed. So as I was saying, around week 2 or 3, maybe 3, let's say 3, be generous, it's 3, a couple of alumni got no longer in consideration. Now, the reasoning for this was a bit scattered, but what I heard was that it was based on previous performance and comparison to other participants who may have stronger resumes and different such. I'm not sure how much of that is true. Sometimes recruiters have differing reasons, but that seemed to be the trend for the first wave of NLICs. Yes, I said waves. Stress. The following 2 weeks were followed by, it seemed like, a batch of new hire no longer in considerations. So a lot of new applicants got emails asking them about their education. And last year, you were able to participate in a program if you were in your first year of university, because the rule was you had to have 1 semester under your belt by the time your program started. This year, they decided to change it to that you have to be done at least 1 semester of education by the time that you apply. So unfortunately, for a lot of people in their first year of university and their first semester were automatically disqualified because on November 10th, they weren't done their first semester. Then I think, I'm not 100% sure the reasoning, but it seemed like in the next following weeks, a couple of alumni got cut and a couple of new applicants got cut. And unfortunately, I think it was that they were good for an interview, but unfortunately were just beat out by a couple people. I'm not 100% sure, but there were a couple more cuts up to about last week. Overall, it was just a really stressful process because it seemed like you could get cut at the drop of a hat. And unfortunately, there were a lot of rumors going around about why people were being cut, which was just not a fun environment to be in. But thankfully, I got a text today from my friend Laura who said, interviews, offers just went out, check your email. I got an email. I originally got my role checklist and I sent that in. I got my interview set, and it's going to be on January 8th, 2024 in Toronto. So that is also something that is new. Alumni are actually required to go in person as well to the interview. This is different from past years. Usually alumni will have a Zoom call or a phone interview, but it seems like this year they're switching us up and they want us to go in person. It looks like for 2024 that the interviews are going to be in Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. There was a bit of an inkling earlier today that CEP interviews would go out, just because there were a batch of CRP offers that went out for interviews in Toronto on January 10th. So the idea was like, okay, recruiters are going to be in Toronto on January 10th. So they might just set up other interviews for the fact that they're already in Toronto. And it ended up happening. So I finally have an interview. It's honestly a weight off my chest. I've been worried about interviewing and just getting that done, because now even just with the process, like, even though you have an interview, it's really not confirmed that you'll get the job. So I'm excited to talk to the recruiters, see what they're looking for this year, try to pitch myself as best as possible because I really want to do another program, and yeah, just see how it goes. So for the role checklist this year, I put merchandise, attractions, and character attendant as high, and then I put Cedar as low, and the rest I didn't do any interest in. So we'll see. I'm going to document this process as best as I can. Try to give you the ins and outs of what's going on. But yeah, as of right now, on January 8th, did I say 10th before? Wait. Okay, January 8th, 2024, it's a Monday. I will be in Toronto actually you're Canadian. Toronto to interview for the 2024 CEP. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping. Okay, hi friends. Filming this on my phone. I am headed to my interview now. I'm at the Intercontinental in Toronto, and I'm excited. I know a couple of friends who have interviews today, but most of them are tomorrow. But yeah, we're gonna go down. We are going to interview, and hopefully it all goes well. I'll give you guys an update about what kind of things they talk about, the dates. That's very important. But otherwise, yeah. Hi everyone. It has now been 2 weeks since my Disney interview, so I thought I'd give a little update. I haven't been able to share what my interview was like on camera quite yet, so I want to do that before I forget. Today is January 22nd. I interviewed for Disney on January 8th. I went into Toronto. You guys saw a couple of clips from that. But it was a great experience. I was the first day of interviews. This year they did 2 in Toronto on the 8th and the 9th. They did 1 in Vancouver on Friday the 12th, and they did 1 in Montreal on January 15th. One big difference this year was I was expecting to do a phone interview. This was not the case. We actually, everyone, whether you were alumni or a newbie, everyone had to go into an in-person interview this year, and they were not super duper flexible with doing virtual interviews. So I'm very thankful that I live in close proximity to Toronto. I was able to get to Toronto and interview, but I know a lot of people who had to come a long way to interview, even after expecting it just being a phone call. But thankfully I was able to interview, and I think it went well. So last year I actually interviewed with one of the two recruiters, and this year I actually got to work with the other recruiter. So that was really cool. I got to chat with him about my experience on the program, why I want to come back, and all that stuff. It was really cool. He knew that I'd already interviewed with the other cast member before in last year, but he was excited to interview me this year, and it was cool to just see the difference in my experience with both recruiter and then also my difference in experiences in alumni. So I was actually like the second person to interview. I know I was the second alumni to interview. So it was cool just to start fresh, say hi, shake his hand, introduce myself. He already like engaged me first and said like, hi Ashley, but still I introduced myself and sat down and basically just asked me what I did last program, where was my home, what was my role. I told him about working at Animal Kingdom, that was my home in merchandise, but I said I did pick up a lot at Emporium, that was my second home, I really loved it. And yeah, we just chatted about my experience. One of the main things we chatted about was why I wanted to come back, and also just my experience living at Flamingo. Why do I want to come back for Disney? What was challenging things? What was my favorite memory? And then what I wanted to do this year. So this year, I really wanted to be a character attendant, like I think a lot of cast members did. But unfortunately, they weren't offering character attendant this year. This year in the presentation, it was quite a short presentation, only like 30 minutes. But they said that they're offering merchandise, attractions, theater, custodial, quick service food and beverage, rec attractions, and lifeguard. So for me, I really want character attendant. They weren't offering it, unfortunately. So I talked about that in my interview. I said, well, that would be my top one if it was available. It's not. But I said otherwise, like attractions, merchandise, and theater would be my top three. Attractions and merch I rated high, and theater I rated low. I was asked, which I wasn't asked last year, I was asked if I was open to any other roles outside of my top three, which I am not. I said I wasn't, but even though you say you aren't, they could still offer it to you as a role. So I said just for the different roles, I didn't just say like, no, I don't want that role. I just essentially outlined, yeah, I don't think it would be great for my skill set. Here's why, and that seemed to go well. He seemed responsive to it, so we'll see. In hindsight, a couple of those roles I could see, like, if I got it, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It's only 3 months, but I definitely have a preference, so I'm hoping that I get something in my top 3, and something that I like. Something that I didn't get to do, that a lot of alumni did get to do, was they got to chat about which locations and roles they would want. Like I know my one friend really wants attractions, and she got to say a couple of the coasters that she'd be willing and wanting to work on, where I didn't get that. So we'll see. I honestly, last year I felt really confident in my interview, and I was like super duper confident I was going to get merchandise. This year I have no clue, so we'll see if I do end up getting an offer, what that offer is. I have no idea. It would be really easy to throw me back into merch just because I love merch. It's something I already know, but I would also love an attraction, so we'll see. So I'm filming this now on January 22nd, like I said. It's rumored that we might hear back tomorrow, January 23rd. There were a couple different responses from the recruiters of when we would hear back. One of them was January 23rd. The other one heard January 29th. So I'm hoping for tomorrow. I was hoping for today, that it would be like a little early surprise. Here's your offer. But we're thinking tomorrow. So if you see me on the camera in just a second, you will see that the roles were released. But otherwise, we'll see. Fingers crossed that they come soon, because I am starting to get antsy. I want to know, one, if I got in, and 2, what role I got. So fingers crossed. We'll see, and hopefully I will catch up with you soon. Okay, good morning, friends. I'm sorry I look crazy. I just woke up. But if we can see, I am going back to Disney World. I'm so excited. Yeah, my friend just said she got Cedar, which is crazy. We thought she was 100% getting attractions, but I am going to check my contract and see what role I got. I have to log in. I have an offer. I have no idea what my role offer is going to be. I have no clue. I'm so nervous. Okay. Here we go. We are going back and doing merchandise again. Okay, so we are going to do merchandise. Okay, so we're merged. But I am August 15th, so I do need to get that switched. Okay, before y'all are like, Ashley, what are you talking about? So this is the long story. Alumni were asked during the interview if we'd be willing to stay until a later end date, which was going to be August 29th. So myself and my friend Laura opted into saying that we would stay longer. Laura ended up getting her offer, and it was until August 29th. So I also wanted August 29th. The reason for this is because Laura and I were planning to live together. We were hoping to be roommates, but when I got my contract, it ended up saying August 15th. So if you've ever done a Disney program and you've requested a roommate, you know that in order to live with someone, you have to have the same start date and the same end date. So I thought, like last year, okay, I'll just email and see if I can get extended. I did that last year. It was originally supposed to be August 17th last year. I got moved to August 31st. But unfortunately this year, they are not changing the contract date. So unfortunately, Laura and I can't live together because she is the 29th. But I will be in merchandise from May 13th to August 15th this summer on Disney's Cultural Exchange Program. Okay,